How's it going, guys? Christian Jamal here. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what it takes to go from $0 to $10,000 a month in a social media marketing agency style business, right? So this is a marketing company. I'll walk you through how that business model works and everything. There's a lot of info on YouTube and online about this type of business, but why am I qualified to talk about it in the first place? I built an agency from 0 to 7 figures a year in profit in just under 2 years, and I'm 23 years old. So came in from very little business experience, definitely had a ton of failed businesses in the past, but nevertheless, like, how much experience can you accumulate at this age anyways? So point is, anybody can do it, right? This video is purely educational. I'm not trying to sell you anything. If you like these types of educational videos, then just subscribe. That's all I ask. But without further ado, let's just hop into the video. We'll break down the agency model and how to get to 10K a month and get your workload to be as little as 8 hours a week or something like that. So without further ado, let's just hop into the video. It's split into 3 parts. Number 1, what is an agency model? Number 2, how to get to 10K a month. And number 3, how to actually retain that and lower the amount of work that you actually put in. All right, so number 1, what is an agency model? I'm gonna try to find like a graphic online, or if not, I'm actually just gonna create my own and just put it on the screen here so it makes sense. Point is, a social media marketing agency, an SMMA for short, is a solution-based business. It's a service-based solution business. So you find someone that has a pain in social media marketing agency perspective. You find a business owner that is having trouble solving X problem, and you provide the solution and you bill them on a monthly subscription basis. And that is really the key, because the thing is, if I told you, hey, here's $10, you're probably gonna be like, what am I gonna do with $10? But if I said, hey, there's 1,000 people that wanna give you $10 every single month, now you have a $100,000 a month company, right? So it makes a big difference when it's a subscription basis, because now even getting a client to say yes once can result in multiple paychecks with months to come. Now, obviously, no one is just gonna pay for anything, especially a high ticket payment, if they don't see the value within that. So how are we gonna determine which problem we're gonna solve? The first thing you wanna do is you don't want to build a product and then find its customer. What you wanna do is you wanna find a customer and build a solution for them. In this situation, I would say, number 1, pick a client that you want to serve. And what you wanna do is you wanna aim to solve their pain at the highest level possible. Because that's the thing, is you can solve pains at multiple levels. Number 1, you can go from a lot of pain to little pain. You can go from a lot of pain to no pain. And then you can go from a lot of pain to like success, in a sense, like happiness. So like if someone is losing $2,000 a month, they're happy to go back to not losing any money at all. But if you want to take it to the next level, from going from losing $2,000 a month, you can take them to making $2,000 a month. So just as an example, if someone is spending money on their advertising and they're losing money every month, if you come in and help them make money instead, then that is something that they are willing to pay you for. Now, I will tell you exactly in my experience what I decided to do. I decided to do Facebook advertising as a start. Now we do all types of paid advertising, but we started with Facebook ads, and we found business owners that have the budget to actually run these ads, but we're having trouble making their ads profitable. So as you can tell, if a business owner is spending $5,000, $10,000 a month on ads and they're bringing back $2,000, $3,000 from that, it hurts, right? Like, they don't want to spend that money anymore. But the thing is, they know they have to do it in order to grow their business, which is why I love the paid ad space, because once we come in, we really treat their business as our own, and we help them go from 10K a month in spend to 4x returns, 5x returns. We even have case studies as high as 20 and 30x returns on the dollar, and then they're able to take their business and blow it up. In a sense, like, they can either expand into different territory, they can either take care of their family, they can do so many different things by just taking that one campaign and flipping it around. Now, going back to my main point, find the problem, build the solution, and then offer it to them. So in a sense, if someone came to me and said, hey, Christian, this is this massive pain that you're feeling right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take care of it. And to me, I have a dollar amount of what that pain is worth to me, right? So for example, someone that is posting on social media. That can be a high income skill if you know the algorithm and you know what to post and this and that. But I find it a lot more difficult to convince someone that that is going to solve all their life's problems. That is why we settled for paid advertising. We found business owners that are having trouble making more money from their paid ads, and we just ran their paid ads for them and charged them a fee in order to do so. So now let's say that you found a problem that you want to solve and you have a solution for that problem, right? So you found a customer, a persona that has a pain, and you built a solution specific to that individual. As time goes by and as more people get into this world, it's important to have a unique mechanism, like a custom solution that is only available to you. Like I said that we did Facebook ads, but the truth of the matter now, even though that is technically still part of some of our services, it's not packaged as Facebook ads. Right now, what we do is we help people build a scalable revenue ecosystem. So we found that, okay, if we run ads for this individual, they do well on that front, but then they lack on another. And then if we help them with that, they do good with this as well, but they lack on another front. So right now we just built an ultimate solution that helps business owners just blow up in business and just figure out all their problems, because we just give them all the tools they need. Whether it's marketing, sales, fulfillment, whatever it may be, like we help them fix it. And that is why we were able to raise our price, right? So you'll be able to do the same exact thing within your business if you find a client that you can solve their pain at a high level. I'll give you an example from start to finish. Let's say you find a client that is, for example, in this situation, a chiropractor, right? Chiropractors are professionals. They have good income. That means they can afford a high ticket service. But a lot of times, a lot of chiropractors, they actually invest in machines such as spinal decompression machines. And these machines are expensive. They're like 10, 15,000. So they want to make sure that these machines are actually resulting in them getting a return on investment. And a lot of times these machines sit empty. There's nobody actually utilizing them. And the doctor is like, well, I bought this machine. It's not making me money, or it's making me very little money. Eventually it'll break even. Eventually I'll start making money from it. But it's like a wait. People don't want to wait. So let's say that is the problem that you determine you want to solve. You come in, you're like, hey, what I do is I fill up spinal decompression machines for chiropractors, and my fee is $2,000 a month. So then you get a bunch of chiropractors that are interested in working with you, and they pay you that fee, and then you actually run their marketing for them, which we'll get into how you can run the marketing. But then some of them are super successful with you, and then some of them are not. And then you realize like, am I the problem? I'm not the problem, because I obviously did a great job. But then what you don't realize is that every other person is different. So even though they're chiropractors, they're not identical individuals. So one might have a better sense for sales than another based on their upbringing, based on many different factors. So what you want to do now is you want to take your solution to the next level. So you notice that the chiropractors were having great success bringing leads in from, let's say, your Google ads or your Facebook ads or whatever. And now what you want to do is you want to help them on the sales side of things. So now you tack on, for example, automations to your service delivery. So now instead of just running someone's Facebook ads, you're running their Facebook ads and SMS and email marketing, and then so far and so forth. And that is how you grow. So now you've identified the individual you want to solve their problem. You've identified their pain. You've identified the solution and how it works. And now all it's time to do is actually get those clients, get those people to actually pay you the high ticket dollar amount that you want to make. Because the whole point of an agency is that it is high profit margin, right? Right around 90, 97% profit margin if you're doing it by yourself. Obviously, it's less of a margin if you have a team and whatnot, but that doesn't matter because it's a very high profit margin regardless. Number two, it's high ticket. So you don't want to deal with a bunch of $20, $30 purchases. I know a lot of people watching are like, oh, like you can make so much money with drop shipping and this and that. It's very hard to actually scale to those numbers. It's really only the 1% that actually make it happen. And that is why I don't recommend it to everybody, because not everybody that is going into drop shipping is going to do well with that space. So that is why I'm against this, and that is why I love high ticket. It's way easier to show 5 people that you can help them make more money if they pay you $2,000 a month, and that puts you at 10,000. 2,000 times 5, that puts you at $10,000 a month, and all you have is 5 customers to manage, right? On the contrary, if you're selling a Shopify or e-com or whatever product and your profit margin is $10, you're gonna have to sell 1,000 of those every month. So 1,000 new sales every month in order to make the same exact dollar amount. So is it easier to get 5 clients or 1,000 clients? See what I'm saying? So it's high ticket, high margin, and also subscription based. So that's the biggest thing. So now that we have all that infrastructure, we built a foundation, right? I say this saying all the time, you can't build a castle on quicksand, and that is why the foundation is super important. So that is exactly how this business model's foundation works. Now, what do we want to do to add onto this in order to actually go from stranger to client? It's the sales aspect, right? And there is so many different sales strategies. Now, the one that I recommend for you guys to use, and it's the one that I personally use as well, is something called spin selling with a twist, right? So spin is a sales strategy. There's tons of books, there's tons of video, there's tons of info online about it. But what it signifies is situation for S, problem for P, implication for I, and then need payoff for N. So what that means is, what is your current situation? And then you let the customer speak or the prospect speak. And how is that causing you problems? And then they talk about the problems. And then you come in with the implication of like, okay, like what's going to happen if you don't solve these problems? And then they kind of elaborate more on that. And then need payoff is honestly like the reason that I'm not fully like integrated with spin, and why I have my twist on it is because I find that the need payoff is a little sleazy, and I honestly am not the biggest fan of it. So for the need payoff, it means like, oh, so like if I came in and like solved all these problems, like what is that worth to you type of thing, right? Like how much would that be worth to you, and would you work with me if I could solve all these problems for you? I just find it to be a little more old school, you know what I mean? Like I find that right now in today's day and age, it's important to educate and help someone. And in terms, if they're the right fit, then they will seek you based on the value you bring to them rather than closing a sale. Because remember, it's a subscription basis. So like you want to earn their trust on day one and be transparent on day one so that your relationship can last, right? No matter how decent you are at your job, if you fail your expectations, even though like the expectations are set 5-10 times better than everybody else in the market, you will not be regarded in the same way from that individual because you didn't hit what you said you would. So that's why it's super important to be fully transparent and not try to sell, because if you're selling, that client's gonna drop off after 1 month, and that defeats the whole purpose of the subscription basis. So instead of need payoff, what I do is something called assume the sale, and you show them the next steps. I use this exact same quote. I say, all right, great. So here are the next steps. And then you dive into the payment processing / onboarding process. So in a typical sales meeting, this is exactly what I do. I hop in, I say, hey guys, I introduce myself, I do an icebreaker, we laugh a little, we talk about things that may or may not be business related. And then we dive into, okay, like great, like what motivated you to get on this call? And then they will tell me, for example, either they saw an ad, or they've been watching my Instagram, or they follow me on TikTok, or it doesn't really matter. But you're gonna have that same exact experience once you start actually having a ton of meetings, right? Now, when you first start off, you might go by unconventional ways to get meetings through cold calling, sending looms, blah, 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 which is a bunch of stuff that we'll get into in the future. But nevertheless, you ask for what their current situation is, and then you let the person speak. And then you ask about the problem, and then they'll tell you about the problem. And here it's very important to not be distracted. You need to be 110% with your prospect, because that is the best way to actually show them that you care. And that is also the best way for you to actually pay attention. Because I know that a lot of people that are just bouncing from business to business as entrepreneurs have very low attention spans, and you guys like don't invest any time into one individual like path long enough to actually see it become successful, right? Guess what? I was a victim of this, and that is why I absolutely hate that trait in young entrepreneurs. It's because it's literally like default. Like people by default jump from thing to thing rather than sticking to one thing and seeing it till it's fruitful. And that is exactly why I urge you, don't do the mistakes that I did. Focus in on actually providing value and sticking with one thing until you see the fruits of your labor. So after they tell you about their problem, you go into kind of like, instead of implication, you rather kind of like, you don't want to productize your service, but more or less you want to kind of like dive into questions that are slightly related to your service. So like, for example, let's say I'm running someone's Facebook ads. and they told me all their problems. Now I talk about, well, have you tried Facebook ads? Have you tried this? Why did this not work? And then you dive into their questions regarding the realm of your product without actually talking about the product itself. I'm a huge advocate for not productizing your service, because once you productize your service and once your service becomes a product, now the best product is the one with the lower cost. So like, let's say I'm selling a product for $2,000 and individual B is selling the same exact product for $1,000. Where's the more value, right? The more value is with the lower price. So that's why I don't like productizing my service, because then it becomes very hard to show them the value that comes with that. Because if it's a product, the lower price is always the better option. And once it's no longer a product and it's something that is up in the air and it's something that is you and you alone, now it's no competition. Now you're not competing for price, which is something you don't want to do in the first place. So that's exactly what I do on my sales calls. I talk about their situation. I talk about their problem. I talk about how that implies to my service by asking them questions related to the solution. And then I kind of explain a little bit about how our system is completely different from everything they've tried before. And I really try to convey one thing. Our system is the best option for you to solve that problem. And then from there, I walk into next steps. And by next steps, I mean, okay, there you go. Here's the invoice. Here's the onboarding call. Here's the timeline for you to see your first result, because that's very, very important. It's very important. Minimize the time an individual is waiting for you to get them results. And that is why I think it's super important to have something you can give a client right away. So I'll give you an example. In our situation, I give them access to all my courses, right? I'm not a huge advocate for paid material and whatnot, just because I think that knowledge should be available, implementation should be paid, right? So I'll tell you exactly what it takes to build an agency to $100,000 a month. If you want me to come in personally into your agency and help you make it, then it's something I would charge for. But the information itself, I believe it should be free. One more bonus tip for the sales side of things is focus on your language, right? No one wants to pay your company. People are okay with processing an invoice, okay? People don't want to be in a situation where it's like, hey, do you want to buy from me? Like, no, nobody wants to buy anything from you. What they want to do is know the next steps. So you show them the next steps. So things in your sales call that you're scared of are going to come up eventually. Like if you're scared to pitch price, guess what? Like they have to know the price before they move forward, which is why you will you will walk them through exactly step by step the things that you know they're going to ask anyways. So salespeople are very scared to talk about their pricing and what they do, because they are scared that the person's going to be like, oh, that's too expensive. I don't want to work with you, or I can't afford you, or blah, blah, blah. If they can afford you, it doesn't matter if you pitch them price or not. They're not going to work with you, right? So keep in mind, it's super important to be very comfortable with what you charge. And it's very important for you to bring it up before the prospect asks. Because, I mean, if the prospect is asking, they're just trying to move along the sales process. What I usually do when a prospect is trying to control the call, I'll just tell them straight up, like, I don't know if I can help you. Like, do you mind if we have this conversation? Because it's not a product. It's not just like a pay me this much, I'm gonna solve this. It's more of like, let me know what's going on with you so I can diagnose the best solution. I might not be the best solution. So that's exactly what you want to do. You want to be kind of like the doctor. You want to listen into their symptoms and you want to prescribe a solution. And trust me, it goes a long way when you prescribe a solution that isn't you, when you're not actually meant to be the solution. Because in that case, people tend to come back and offer you their friends who do match your solution. And it goes a long way for your credibility, because I believe reputation in this industry is the most important thing. I see a lot of YouTubers and a lot of people that I've personally paid for their services. And I'll tell you one thing, it's terrible. It's like genuinely like terrible. Like I cannot believe that these people were able to grow their business to the level they are at in those ways. Like it's crazy how people provide such a terrible service and are able to keep scamming people over and over again just because they make YouTube videos and have over 10,000 subscribers, so they're quote unquote credible, right? So I'm not gonna drop any names, but I'll tell you one thing. Choose who you learn from based on what they tell you worked for them, right? And actually invest into the people that you believe are going to help you from point A to point B, not because they are the person, but more of like you like their style of coaching, so you want to learn more from them, right? There's tons of people in the world that have tons of money, and there's tons of people that are super successful in multiple different industries. So truly pick who you learn from. I have millionaire friends that I honestly do not want to learn anything from because I find their ways of growing business unethical, and that is not the reputation that I want to build. And there's people that have a lot more money than them that I find their ways to be extremely amazing and very ethical, and that's exactly the way I want to build my business. So it's very important for you to know exactly who you're learning from because it goes a long way in building your character as well. We need a coffee break. Nevertheless, let's just end the video with how to keep your clients on, and it's by providing an elite level service, right? So you provide a service at the highest level possible. So like I said, you keep digging for the next mini problem to solve, because that's what it is. Like as an entrepreneur, like the faster you find the problem and the faster you solve it, the faster you grow, and you want to keep doing that over and over and over again. In my personal opinion, like I really don't know how many problems I've solved since I started in business, just because the list is infinite, right? And that's perfect because I really do like crave the next problem so that I can solve it, so that I can move forward and actually grow. So you need to feel the same way about your clients. So once a client agrees to work with you, what you want to do is you want to go above and beyond, right? Most people in this industry make it sound like you want to charge them and then you want to provide an average and very, very automated service. I'm against that. I believe that you should give them more value than they paid, because that's exactly how they stay on and how they will bring their friends to you. One of the most slept on ways of growing a marketing company is referrals, right? We get at least 2 to 5 new clients a month just by people saying, hey, like I work with Christian. Christian does a great job for my business. I think he can help you. Do you want to sit down with him? And that's exactly it. Eventually things will snowball for you as well. But the only way that will happen is if you have an elite level service. I know a lot of marketing companies that honestly suck at delivering their service, and all they do is they spend tons of money on ads, they close a client once, and then they lose them forever, and then they rinse and repeat. But at some point in time, these people are gonna be out of business, right? What you wanna do is you wanna build lifelong relationships. I call these evergreen relationships, and the way you do that is by really treating their business as yours. So please, I urge you, you're gonna find out soon enough, or you already know this if you've already tried, most businesses have a bad taste in their mouth from marketing companies, right? Because marketing companies genuinely suck. Like a large percent of them, I would say 95% of marketing companies don't even know how to market. So that's exactly why it's very important for you to provide a very high level service so that people are attracted to you, and then you actually give back to the industry that's helping give back to you. So focus in on treating their business like it's yours. If this was your business and you were just getting leads but no sales, would you be happy? The answer is no. So figure out how to get them sales. If they're not getting any leads, then help them get leads. So focus in on A through Z. The lead gen, the sale, the fulfillment on their end, and that is exactly how you're able to grow. So that is how you retain a client. Now, you don't have to do this service yourself. Don't worry about that. There's a lot of experts that you can vet online. There's websites like Fiverr and Upwork that can show you a list of people who've been doing this for a while, and you can use their case studies to bring in clients to you. At the start, I really do believe that you need to build a genuine, authentic, ethical business in order to actually stay on and be an actual player in this game. Is being authentic and being real and actually telling it how it is, like actually helping these business owners grow and not scamming people. So this is exactly why it's super important for you to pick the person delivering the service. If it isn't you, very, very carefully. Treat this as if you were vetting to find the next Elon Musk. Like truly, like you want to sit down with them and they need to know everything about their craft. People are not willing to pay high ticket for an average person. They want to pay high ticket for an expert. And that is exactly why you need to find an expert, right? An expert is not someone that just knows more than you. An expert is someone that knows everything about that. If you think about it, most people when they start off, they do it until they get things right. What you want to do is you want to find someone that doesn't do it wrong. And that is exactly what you're going to have to aim for. Now, obviously that's aiming above the goal to hit the goal, but still, you have to vet them extremely specifically. But if you want to learn the service yourself, you can even reach out to an expert or watch YouTube videos and implement it. Because at the end of the day, I'll tell you one thing, information is great, but if you don't actually do any of the work, it's not gonna matter. I've watched hundreds of videos and hundreds of courses about Facebook ads, but I'll tell you one thing, there is no better tutor than the actual ads manager itself. You see the numbers, you read the numbers, and you follow what the numbers say, and that's exactly how you grow. That's the only way, and the best way to grow is through experience. That's why when someone comes to us and they want help with marketing, the other marketing companies they work with, it's like not even like competition at that point, because they simply don't have as much experience as us. They've not seen as many problems as us. They haven't put out as many fires as us. And that's why it's very easy for us to find new customers, because we actually help them make money. You know what I mean? So focus in on becoming an expert so you can provide your clients with a return on investment, and thus you will grow your business. I just spoke for 20 minutes straight, and I'm really sorry for all of this, but nevertheless, I feel like I gave a ton of gold, a ton of value in this video. Let's just do a quick recap. Pick an industry, pick a person, pick a problem you want to solve, provide the solution at the highest level possible, and focus on solving it as a subscription basis, and retain those clients and protect your reputation with your life. And that is exactly how you grow. Remember, 5 people paying you $2,000 a month, you're at $10,000 a month. It's really a lot easier than you think. Start actually implementing, and you'll see. In 30 days from now, you might have 2 clients, you might have 1 client, you might have all 5, but you're never gonna know if you don't start. Again, my name is Christian Jamal. If you enjoyed this video and you like this type of content, feel free to subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram as well. But nevertheless, I'll see you guys on the next one.